Alright, today I want to talk about the differences between Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn deals with time, and Jupiter deals with space. So you're talking about when they conjunct being at the right time, at the right place at the right time. But there's so much more to it than that. Someone asked me, is Saturn God? I think some of this will help explain that, what I'm fixing to tell you, or make it more clear. But in my understanding, they are representatives, because God, or Creator as we know it, is not understandable. You're not able to comprehend it. Then these are the representatives. They hold the highest authority. That word is called God. Absolute rulers, supreme beings. But does that make them Creator? No. I'm going to say no. There's something above them that we can't understand. I think they both serve Creator, and it's neither male nor female. It doesn't have gender. So I'll begin this way. When you talk about Genesis 1, in the beginning God created, that word beginning denotes time. All things begin in time. Saturn came first. Saturn deals with things that are non-tangible, like time, intelligence, the spirit, the breath of life, to where Jupiter deals with all things in the material world. He's what I call the god of DNA. The earth, all things that are material, even if they're rocks, have DNA strand in it. So Jupiter is the god of the flesh, and Saturn is the god of the soul or the spirit. Jupiter, he's only here for a short time. The flesh is only here for a short time for each of us. But our spirits are more than even this word eternal. They never die. We are energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes from one form to another. DNA cannot function as a consciousness without Saturn. He is that breath of life. Otherwise, it's just a dead carcass. We come from Saturn. We have bodies given to us by Jupiter. To be in the right place at the right time, to have the right soul in the right body, to where the stars align, we talk about Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions. That's that two fingers you keep seeing held up in all the Masonic and Catholic iconography denoting Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions, because it takes two for us to be in this world. In the Bible, you're talking mainly about these two gods, the god of the flesh and the god of the spirit or of the soul. We're in the age of water in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. It's all about the flesh. It's all about the material world, and every religion on this planet is based on the Jupiterian mystery schools. He wears many masks. He works with all the planets, but he and Mars work together. Mars is also your emotions. That's why we go to war, because that's the outward action of our emotion, and Mars is utilized to do that. And our emotions, Jupiter lies to us. Jupiter, our own flesh lies to us. We have to deal with it. I'm quite aware there are two of me. I have a Saturn spirit and I have a Jupiter flesh, and they war. My body's hungry, it's thirsty, it don't feel good, it's sleepy, it wants this, it wants that. And I have to compromise with it because my spirit also wants what my spirit wants. I'm compelled to do things. I'm guided by my heart, but I still have the flesh. And we have, this is the duality here. This is the dilemma. People bitch about duality. Well, you wouldn't be here without it. People bitching about a lot of things lately, pointing a lot of fingers, doing a lot of bitching, but not a lot of solutions to it. And a lot of what we complain about is just simply because we don't understand it. We don't comprehend it. We look at it from a two-dimensional perspective. And it helps to look at different perspectives. But you need to move beyond the second dimension and the third dimension and go into those realms that have not been yet explored, at least in your life, in your mind. Doing your shadow work. I've been talking a lot about this because we have a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction coming up in 2020 on the winter solstice, 8 years, that infinity symbol after the 2012 non-event. It's because it was always 2020. You'll have 2020 vision. You'll have hindsight. You'll be able to look back and see that infinity symbol they placed between those years. 8 years to be exact. And when this happens, this time it's going to happen in Saturn's house of Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. It's like a duplex that they took the wall down between. It is one house. It is the only time in the alchemical circle where heaven on earth are given to us in this age as one house. And it is ruled by Saturn, who's being demonized to no end by the Jupiterian mystery schools. When I drowned in a swimming pool as a little girl, I was quite aware there are two of me. It's like the chicken and the egg. And when Humpty Dumpty gets broke, you can't go back inside of it. When the body's dead, the body's dead. The egg being the body, the shell that keeps you in. But that chicken lives on, and it keeps producing new bodies. And this is what we do. This is what DNA does. It produces the material world that literally eats itself. The earth eats itself. Trees grow up, they die back into the ground, they nourish the new seeds that bring forth the trees. But none of this material world could have life in it without Saturn. Saturn creates by voice. You can't see our words. So Jupiter makes up these languages. Everything used to be symbolism, or what you would call hieroglyphics, until we got the alphabets, which made our brains start working in a different way. We no longer use that symbolism. Well, we're fixing to. When these two meet in 2020, Pluto's going to be there. When Saturn and Jupiter meet, the door to the Black Lodge opens. That is the subconscious mind. And you will find Pluto there waiting. He's already in your subconscious mind because that's what he rules. That dark place, the dark things about ourselves. During this conjunction, it will be a time of manifestation. Currently, we have Pluto and Saturn in Jupiter's house of ideology, Sagittarius. That fire in the mind. It's mutable. Pluto's there to clean house. You got to get rid of the old ways if you want to walk in the new world. And this is a time of manifestation. And you will be manifesting what is in your subconscious mind. because of the alignments and the location of this conjunction. If you are a negative person, you will manifest your nightmares. If you're a daydreamer, you will manifest your daydreams. We need to go in and clean out our subconscious. We need to get rid of the old ideologies and beliefs that are not serving us. We need to walk the talk, because it's also a time of karma, not just manifestation. When these two planets meet, it sets up the next 20 years. And the powers that be know this. They're manipulating the population into division and chaos. You have to walk a narrow path to survive this next 20 years that's coming. You can walk in the new kingdom and manifest it in your life if you do your homework, if you do your shadow work, and you're able to stand alone. That narrow path is so narrow, there's not room for two. It is a path you walk alone, and you do it inwardly. You're going to have to analyze yourself, not others. Don't compare yourselves to others when you analyze yourself. Let you meet you. Let you deal with you. Clean up that subconscious mind. Clean up your outward life. Start being self-aware. A lot of people are talking about being awake and being aware, but how self-aware are you? If someone was to put a hidden camera in your house and film you for a day, what would they see? What would you see? You need to be able to step out of your body and watch yourself and observe you, and then make the decision on why we do the things we do. Example. I've been using this a lot lately just because it seems prevalent, and it's been the holidays. We grew up being told about Santa Claus, and then we find out Santa Claus is not real. But then we turn right around as parents and tell our kids about Santa Claus. Why do we do this? I find myself doing these things. I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm observing and sharing. A lot of us grew up in the church and were programmed, pulled to that pit and altered with that doctrine and dogma. And when we wake up to it, become aware of what it really is, and walk out of the church, we still carry those traditions with us. Those beliefs, those 10 commandments, those statutes, laws, and limitations that we're no longer under. This age of grace with Jupiter has forced us into the Old Testament, worshiping the God of the 10 Commandments and the God of war, because they make money off of it. They stay in power off of it because they can keep us divided. How can we expect to come together as a people with one voice if we have many voices in our own heads? We have to decide. And the decision is, do I walk by my flesh or do I walk by my spirit? Come 2020, you're going to be asked. Choose this day whom you will serve, because you will be serving it for the next 20 years until these two meet again. I want to talk about Jupiter first. Jupiter is represented by Zeus and the Catholic Church. Joe, Giovanni, good old Joe. He's the benevolent God. He's the good God. Really? Because the way I understand it, it's the flesh that is evil. Well, let's see about old Zeus here and what they say about him. Zeus had a sexual appetite he could not control. Wow, that sounds like the Vatican, don't it? if you want to know about that religion, all you got to do is learn about Zeus. He's Lord over them all. He rules over all of them, except Saturn. He tempts your spirit. He misleads you. He lies to you. And some people have bad spirits that come from Jupiter. Those frequencies. But we can all change in the moment, in the twinkling of the third eye. And they tell you third eye blind. Yeah, it is. But when it opens, you see everything. You're able to distinguish between these two. And it's all going to manifest. We're coming into the age of knowing. When you're on that celestial wheel, on that fixed cross with Dalem at the top, Aquarius, the age of knowing. At his feet is that lion, the age of confusion. They are opposite. Leo is the age of not knowing. Jupiter, ruling Pisces, is opposite the wisdom of the heavens, Libra. And Virgo, that Libra-Virgo, between that Pisces, Aries, Mars, and that Libra-Virgo. That's the magic they wield. It is the battle of fire and ice. And they end up joining forces. It's the only way they could survive. They don't know how to walk in the spirit. We are in this world, but we are not of it. Our spirit is the alien in this flesh body. We're like the little guy in SpongeBob SquarePants who's trying to steal the burger recipe, and he's just this little worm inside this big machine. Our bodies tend to control us. Like I said, they're needy. They want this and that. And we have to tame our bodies. I like the book of Proverbs. It talks about taming the flesh, taming that tongue, taming that will. And we use our spirits to do that. We know right from wrong. We don't need a book to tell us. We don't need priests to tell us. We don't need a temple to tell us. You know damn well when you're doing something wrong. Even children know. They might not know the fire's hot till they touch it, but they know. Because they're empaths. When we're young, we're empaths. We feel. We feel with our spirit. And we're fixing to come into that age. We're walking between two worlds right now. And every day, we're one day closer to walking in the spirit. When this mortality puts on immortality. When Jupiter puts on Saturn. Nibiru. Jupiter's name in Babylonian and in some of the ancient tongues has always been Nibiru. And when Jupiter conjuncts Saturn, it appears that Jupiter has wings, because Saturn's ring pokes out his wings on the side. But this time it's Saturn's turn. Jupiter's had his day. The next 20 years are lined up to be under Saturnalian rule. Saturn has come into its 36-year cycle of ruling the planets. We're coming into the age of Saturn. It's like a trifecta. So you need to make sure about what's going on in the next 2 years. We're having this super blue blood moon. I said it that way on purpose. It's a blue blood moon. It's in Capricorn. I take that back. It's happening in the age of Capricorn. We're in the constellation of Capricorn now as the sun rises. So it has a Capricorn influence on this moon that happens on the 31st. It's closest to the Earth. It's the second full moon of Capricorn, of January. So it has specific meanings. It's a blue moon and it's a blood moon. It's a blue blood moon. And you take that for what you will. Blue and blood, you could also just shorten it and say it's a purple moon. I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to set down what the difference is between Saturn and Jupiter, the spirit and the flesh, letting you know what's coming up in 2020. I've been talking about this since before 2012. I didn't do anything for 2012, just like I didn't do anything for Y2K, because it wasn't there. But it's definitely here. The stage is being set. They set this stage every 20 years. Don't be sucked in by the hype, the propaganda, the media, the politics, the money. Don't get sucked in by any of that. Speaking of money and Bitcoin, I prefer Bitcoin over dollars, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when it was created as a certain amount. Both of them are fiat currency. Both of them are created out of thin air. There's nothing backing either one of them, but just on the agreement of the people to use them. One is set up as a debt slave system, and there's only one difference between them. One of them has a set amount. Bitcoin under the Satoshi will never be more than it was ever created to be. There are only so many Bitcoins, and you cannot create any more. They can create dollars all day long. They can create them, and they can burn them. They can force their value to go up and down, and that's how they have control of us. Bitcoin, that doesn't exist. It's worth what it's worth because the people think that's what it's worth. But you can't create any more to make it worth more or less. You can't destroy any of them. They are what they are. It is a set standard. When there's nothing set standard about the currencies in this fiat system that we use today. They are not gold backed. They want to make you believe that, but it's not. Jupiter rules beliefs, but he wears many masks. He has a good side and a bad side. They all do. We have a good spirit and a bad spirit. And it's time for us to take control of our own selves. I'm attempting to do that, not very well. The rebellious retrograde of Jupiter in Pisces. I meant the retrograde of Uranus in Jupiter's house of Pisces right now. Turning around, headed back to Aries. They are so rebellious right now. And you see all that in the media. These Jupiterians are at each other's throat. All the mystery schools are under Jupiter. So when they start warring with each other, when you see the Democrats and Republicans, they're all for the same guy. It's all about they control the fleshly material world. When government means to govern the mind. And that belongs to Saturn in Capricorn. Guess where we're headed? 20 years of Saturn in Capricorn. And he means business. He's in Jupiter's house right now, cleaning up your ideologies, cleaning up your subconscious mind with Pluto. Let him do his job. Don't be the rebellious Uranus retrograde in Pisces right now. That water trying to cool down that fire of Sagittarius. Because they're on the same mutable cross. Everything, you got to watch things as when you talk about Capricorn, that's cardinal. That's the most high. The most high of the earth, Capricorn. The most high of the heavens, Libra with Venus. The most high of water is the moon. The most high of fire, Mars in Aries. That emotion that compels us. Do your emotions compel you, or does your spirit compel you? You need to do what your spirit tells you to do. We have these gut instincts Gut backwards is tug. You get that little tug. You just know that you know that you know. Saturn's about knowing. Saturn is about truth. I'm tired of Saturn being demonized, because that's where you'll find the answers. And you'll find that Jupiter is the big bully on the block. And you'll also find that he's very afraid. The flesh is afraid. We fear what we do not know. That is the only thing you fear, what you do not know. But Saturn can give you the knowing. You will know even as you are known. You know that you know that you know. Jupiter likes to hide things. Saturn likes to uncover them. Pluto working with Saturn. Wow, uncovering a lot. Uranus works with Jupiter. Uranus is outer transformation of the fleshly world. Pluto is inner transformation of the spiritual world. Neptune points the way. These are your 3 generational markers, and they work with Saturn and Jupiter, especially on these conjunctions. You need to know where all of these planets are when this conjunction happens. We will do that video when the time comes. But now it's time for you to do your homework. It's time for you to start committing those random acts of kindness if you're not already doing it. I don't care what your flesh is. I don't care if you don't feel like it. I don't care if you don't want to. It's for your own good. Do it for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. That's something nobody can do for you. In this fleshly world under Jupiter, I must scratch your back and you must scratch mine, because I can't scratch my own. I wasn't created that way. But in the spiritual world, you stand alone. Nobody can answer for you. Nobody can stand in the gap for you. It's up to you. We're walking out of the age of grace into an age of karma. You will reap what you sow. So start banking that karma and do the right thing. Update for my channel. I'm still here another week, but at this point I am hanging on week by week. I'm looking to do some charts, so send me your information, and if you can't pay the rate, contact me. We'll work something out. I'm even willing to barter. And on that note, everybody have a great day.